Everyone blames distractions, like Instagram, overflowing inboxes, or that neighbor's dog who always loses it during a client call. But what if the real time suck in your business isn't interruptions? It's the work that you shouldn't be doing in the first place. There's a quote that I come back to again and again. It says, "Nothing is so useless as doing efficiently what shouldn't be done at all." In today's video, we're diving into the 3 most common time leaks that we see inside growing businesses. And of course, how a simple ClickUp workflow can help plug those gaps, reclaim your time, and focus on the work that actually moves the needle. So let's dive in. Start with the most common time leak that we see in growing businesses: scattered work. If your projects are living across spreadsheets, Slack, Drive folders, and 17 open tabs, your team is already behind before they even start. That's why having a project management tool that you actually use and stick to is absolutely crucial for saving time and optimizing the operations of a growing business. So in today's tutorial, the majority of the examples I'm going to show you are in our favorite project management tool, ClickUp. But as long as you're using a project management tool and you have it set up efficiently, that's the biggest takeaway I want you to take from this video. So I want to show you a few core examples in our project management tool, ClickUp, which you're looking at here, to show you how we fix this time leak of scattered work by creating a centralized workspace that brings in tasks, files, updates, and communication into one clear central source of truth. All right, let's get into it. So if you're unfamiliar with ClickUp, right now what I'm inside of is the DL training workspace. So you can see on this everything level, this is going to pull in my calendar that I created that's just showing my specific work. So this is the end goal, right? That you aren't having to check a million places to be like, what do I have going on today? It's that you have every single thing in your ClickUp and you're able to just pull up one calendar and be like, okay, what am I working on today? What is the team working on, etc. We have a quote that we actually coined from one of our clients, which is, if it's not in ClickUp, it does not exist. So our team knows that if they're asking me to review something or do something and they send it to me in Slack, I'm always going to follow up with, is this in ClickUp? Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be shuffling through all my Slack messages to manage my tasks. I'm going to see if there are things that I have to respond to in terms of team and client communication. We're going to get to the communication point in part 2, so stay tuned for that. But I just want to show you a couple examples of a working hierarchy that you can have and set up for your company. So here you can see we have different spaces on the left side. These are like the different departments of our business. So how do we run DeSilva Life in terms of the operations, business development, clients, marketing and PR, programs and courses, resources and trainings. In operations, you'll see we have things like team management, updates and maintenance, operations tasks, team onboarding, etc. In business development, we're housing things like KPI tracking, goals, sales, finances, leads pipeline, etc. And clients, obviously this is going to be related to all of our client projects, all the lists of tasks that we have to get done, as well as like our client database, client testimonials, etc. Marketing and PR, pretty straightforward. What are the marketing platforms that we're using? I'll get into this example in another piece as well, but you'll be able to see, what do we have to do related to our blog, email, Instagram, etc. If you have a podcast or, you just have regular marketing things that you have to do, like your monthly recap and reporting meeting, or, having a place to remind you to plan the content for the month ahead. Then programs and courses. This is if you are a course creator or you have a program, housing all the things that you have there. And then resources and trainings is obviously your central hub where your team can go for all the SOPs, trainings, company wiki, etc. Now, this is just a core example of a standard business setup, but every business is going to be different. So take this with a grain of salt. Say, what are the things that I need to set up? And then take it step by step. If you are looking to plug and play all the templates that you just saw right there, we actually have all of these in our ClickUp Template Vault. We have over 50 plus plug and play templates, so that'll be in the description below if you're interested in checking it out. But essentially, you get the idea. I'll click into like a couple lists just so you can see. These may have similar formats. Some of them have very different formats depending on what the workflow is. But the goal is that every single project that you're working on, whether it's a campaign or initiative that you're working on for 3 to 6 months, or it's an ongoing client project, or it's an ongoing pipeline like your Instagram content, you want to make sure that you have a place for everything. Every task exists in ClickUp. It has an assignee, it has a due date. So you can see this would be like an example of a client list. We come into marketing and PR. This would be an example of your YouTube workflow if you're working on different videos. So the goal is everything has a task, it has an assignee and a due date. So then everyone can go ahead and just pull up their calendar for the day and be like, okay, what are my priorities for the day, for the week? What am I working on? And then they can just click right into that item, work on it, get it done, and then mark it as complete. So no more where's that link or chasing updates across platforms. You have one login, one hub, and clarity across the board. So now let's transition into the second time leak, which is communication chaos. So again, the second biggest time drain is communication that is all over the place. Meetings that should have been a comment, Slack pings that interrupt deep work, feedback that's lost in someone's inbox. It all adds up. It's not only taking up time, but it's also taking up brain space, which in the end is taking up your time. That's why inside ClickUp, I always recommend tying the feedback to the task itself. So I do want to mention we do use Slack at our company. And so how we use Slack communication versus ClickUp communication is a little bit different. I want to go through both. So whether it's proofing a design, whether it's giving feedback to a specific client request or deliverable, everything lives in ClickUp. That way, decisions live where the work lives, and you can have that track record instead of digging through Slack or email or whatever communication platform. So let me show you a couple quick examples, and then I actually want to show you some tips with the Slack integration into ClickUp as well. So let's pop into the Instagram list. And this is actually our working Instagram list. This is not in our test workspace because I want to show you a couple like core examples of how we actually use this. So here you're going to see this is the post going out with this video, right? Your guide to a leak-free summer. So not only is it about communicating in the task itself, right, with comments, and we'll go through those in a second, but also having a strong setup for how you're communicating what your vision is for something. So here you can see when we're assigning something like a carousel to the team, we have a table in the description that's like, okay, here's the slide one, here's the text, here's the visual prompt. So we have all that information there. Then we have the caption, then we have the publish date, and then our team, our designers, will actually move this to ready to design, assign the designer with the due date that it has to get done, and then they're going to start working on it. What the designer is then going to do is they're going to upload the first draft into the task itself. They're then going to assign it. I'm going to talk about automations in the last and final time leak, but then they're going to move it to review design. So, well, actually, once they start designing, they're going to move it to design in progress, then they're going to move it to review design, etc. So when I'm looking at my whole pipeline for content or any project for that matter, I know exactly what everyone's working on and where each deliverable is in the pipeline. So not only is this, helping communication, it's actually reducing communication altogether. because I don't have to check in with the team. Hey, how are the Instagram posts coming along for this week? What's your status with this, that, etc. And they're also not confused in terms of priority because everything's on their schedule in order of what they have to do in each day. So you can see that just seeing this visual, you're able to see from an overview what the status is of everything, if everyone's on target, if anything is behind, etc. So many, golden nuggets in terms of communication when it comes to using a project management tool properly. So what happens is once this goes to review, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click into the design, and then I'm going to add comments directly onto the image itself. So I don't have to be like, hey, in the title, do this, that, blah, blah, blah. I could be like, typo here, change this color, etc. And that's going to save me time because I'm not trying to over communicate about something. I can just comment on it directly. Okay. So you can see, here's communication of everyone talking back and forth. Change the status to final review. I put, a comment, fix, set clear channels, tag decision makers, etc. Then I'm like, this is so cute. I made another comment, text was wrong. Other than that, it looks great. And then my EA was like, it seems like we're still missing the thumbnail. I have it scheduled once we have that updated, blah, blah, blah. So this shows you that we're all talking about this one thing, but it's not getting lost in Slack. When I come into here to be like, okay, what's the update on this? Why is it stalled or why is it assigned to me? I can see everything right in the comment section itself. So this is an example of internal communication, right? For an internal deliverable for marketing. Now let's talk about how helpful this is when it comes to client communication as well. An actual example in our ClickUp as well related to client communication so you guys can see how in depth we take this, right? Okay, so I have some things blurred out in here for sensitive client information, of course, but you can see that this is the request list for a project that we're working on. This is a client who's in their extended support phase where we now go into optimizing the setup that we've built. So every single request that comes through, it comes into this list. We're then tracking the request. Is this new? Is this approved, ready to start, in progress, internal review, client review, waiting on client, needs edits, blocked, on hold, canceled, complete. So we're able to see all the requests, where they're at. The client is able to see this as well, whether we share it via a public link or add them to this list. And then we have, okay, here's the request, here's the implementation stage, the request type, client code, who requested this from the team, and what's their email. And then you can see us communicating about this back and forth. Hey, here are the next steps to my team member, and here's the list. Then Juan's like, okay, great. Here's the list with custom fields. I made a dashboard, not sure how to do this specific thing. And then I'm like, okay, this looks great. We can propose this to our client today. So all of this information is staying in here. And then on that client call, we then just open up this request list and we start going through all the things in client review. There have been so many times as well where the team is working in the background and I show up to the client call and everything is documented in these tasks, also from our calls. So let me pull an example of that, where now you can see in this same task, our project manager was like, hey, here's more insight from our last call with our client. So she linked the recording, said, here's the minute that we talked about it, here's a summary, and then we're all on the same page. So there are literally times where, I'm bringing up this request list and the client's like, where did we land on that? And I'm able to pull up the comment section and be like, here's the exact last things we talked about. So you can see that it's not just about having a software that you're plugging this stuff into, but also having a system of how are these things getting imported? What are the custom fields that'll make it a lot easier for oversight? What's it look like in terms of our project manager's responsibilities of like pulling the summaries and putting them in the tasks after the call? So a lot goes into this, and I hope it gives you more clarity than just get a project management tool, and is showing you tangible ways to set it up and manage it to make your life so much easier. So now there's one last aspect to this that I want to show you as well, which is the integration with Slack. So I'll show you how this works in a second, but let me pull up. You can see that I have this one Slack message in here. So if I'm communicating with the team or with clients about a specific thing, I don't want to just have to copy and paste and be like, this is what so-and-so said. I can actually add this comment from Slack into a ClickUp task directly. So now you can see that I'm able to bring this right in. And if I click on this open a new tab, it's going to bring me exactly to that conversation, which is so helpful. So you know who said it, when they said it timestamps it. It'll give you the thread that it lives in. I've obviously blurred it out because it has our client information. And then you're able to just pull this up and reply if you need to, or just have it here for context. So let me just show you that quick hack of how you can do this. All right, so let's just use this task as an example. So say I wanted to bring a comment from Slack into this task. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the link of this. It's not necessary. You can always find it and search for that task, but a lot of times it's easy to just come in here and copy the link. Then I'm going to open up Slack and I just pulled a random message here. Now I'm going to click on the more actions and you can see I have the Slack integration set up. I'll show you how to do that in a second. When I click on add comment to task, I can now paste this task link in there. Find the task, click on add, and now you're going to see this has now popped up in here. And now I can see it added in the Slack widget here as well. So it's as simple as that, and all you have to do is connect your app. So if you come into your workspace settings and you go into apps, then you search for Slack, you can go ahead and integrate your workspace. So that concludes time leak number 2. Let's move on to the final time leak and conclusion number 3. And finally, time leak number 3, and the silent killer of your team's energy, doing work that could be automated. So if you're still sending manual reminders and follow-ups, duplicating tasks, or updating assignees and due dates by hand, we can do so much better. I actually want to show you inside of 2 tools. Of course, one is going to be ClickUp. I'm going to go through some of the automations that I've chatted through and how they're actually set up, as well as our CRM Honeybook. So you can see how it relates to the client communication, booking, and onboarding piece as well. So let's start with ClickUp. ClickUp's built-in automations let you assign work, move tasks, notify team members or clients, all without lifting a finger. Even recurring reports, task check-ins, they can be triggered without all of the admin work. So let me show you an example of this. So just like I mentioned with our workflow of content management, this is a great example. Now you can also do this in client lists, project initiatives, etc. You can see that we have 13 different automations in this list. So when I come into here, you'll see that you can set up automations for so many different things. If I come into this one here, you'll see that if the status changed to review copy or final review, it's going to reassign me and change the due date to on the trigger date. So what's great about this is that my team member doesn't have to think about what does Christy's schedule look like, who's reviewing this, etc. All our team member has to do is do their job and then move the status. So this is going to be in design in progress or ready to design. Our designer is going to design it and then move it to review design. That's then going to go to our project manager. Our project manager is going to review it, give any feedback, and then move it to final review. And then it's going to get assigned to me. And when all this happens, our designer's just like, okay, by tomorrow, I have to do this specific thing. I'm going to upload it and I'm going to move the status to the next in line. ClickUp is going to do the rest. Then when you have your dashboard or your calendar with everything you have to do for that day, things are just getting added to your calendar. You open up the task, you do your job, and then you move the status. Whether I review it and I'm like, okay, this is ready to schedule, or it's a task that's just like, okay, I reviewed it and now it's completed. So there are so many things you can automate in ClickUp. You can see if I come into here, automations again, I go to add automations, you can see all of the triggers that ClickUp has. and then all of the actions as well. They're also doing really cool things with AI agents and AI in general. So even taking it a step further, like for example, our team created an AI agent workflow where like anytime a task is created with the context that you give it, it helps you actually problem solve. So when clients are asking us questions about ClickUp, we're able to put it into ClickUp and say, okay, search ChatGPT, search ClickUp help docs, and give us the answer to this. And then it drops a comment in that task. We're able to then vet it and be like, okay, is this what we would actually recommend to the client? And then we'll send it over to the client. So there is so much you can do, especially with AI and how they've integrated it into ClickUp and other tools now that really take automations to the next level. So that's an example of a project management automation. Now let me just show you a quick example of a CRM automation. So this automation is an example of when a proposal is sent, right? So here's the thing. It's not only about being more efficient and saving time, but also the way to a scalable business is through automating things that, number one, are going to save you time you don't have to do manually, but are also going to help your team and nurture your clients better than you're doing now. So, for example, you send a proposal. It automatically is going to move the pipeline stage to proposal sent. After that, we're going to check, has this client paid their payment? One day later, if they didn't sign right away, then we want to go ahead and send them a proposal follow-up email. This can, of course, be approved before sending, so you can edit and customize it, or it can be standard. Whatever fits your workflow best. Obviously, there are a lot of different factors involved. 3 days later, it's going to do the same thing. Have they made their first payment? If not, let's send another follow-up. 7 days later, okay, have they made their payment? If not, let's send the final follow-up. If at any point they do, then we have a separate automation that kicks off onboarding that sends their welcome email and next steps, etc. So it's not only saving our time, but again, it's nurturing our clients so well. So I just wanted to show you those two quick examples of automations. Now, it's funny because we get clients that will come in and be like, I need to automate everything, or I know I need to automate so much, but I don't even know where to start. And it's really about auditing your processes and being like, okay, let's take it step by step, one by one. We have so many examples on our channel of automations that you can implement, but also in our templates, we have examples of real-time automations in different workflows, right? Whether it's a CRM and sales pipeline, whether it is, marketing content or client projects. So take it step by step, take it day by day, but the more you automate, you put in the work now and it pays off tenfold in the future. So now let's wrap up with finally talking about company oversight. So just because we set up these different things, right? Everything's in ClickUp, we've automated things, we've streamlined communication. It's not just going to be set it and forget it. We want to make sure that you're actually monitoring that people are using the workspace, that things are running smoothly, that projects are running on time. So to save the most time, instead of having to click into all these individual spaces and get the pulse check, we can do things like creating dashboards so you automatically get that project oversight and team oversight. So I want to show you through just a quick example of a COO/manager dashboard so you can see what this can look like in real time. So here is where you can pull in and add cards that are pulling in information from your whole workspace. Now you can do this from the workspace level. You can do this for specific team members, like maybe your account manager or project managers manage specific sectors of the business and you want to create one dashboard for marketing management, one for client management. So many different things you could do here. But here what you can do is you can set different cards for, team workload. How many tasks are assigned to each team member? Who's overloaded? Who needs more? You can then see, okay, who has overdue tasks? Is this something because they don't know how to use the tool properly? Is this something because maybe they're slacking? Or maybe they're overloaded and they have too much on their plate and they physically can't get it all done, right? These are going to help you make data-driven decisions instead of just setting something up and ClickUp, setting up these fancy workflows and automations, and then your team isn't using it and you have no idea. Then you can pull different KPIs, whether it's, email open rates or how many proposals closed this month, etc., and getting that pulse check of the business. Seeing, billable reports, client project overviews, where are things lagging and getting stuck in specific statuses, who's behind in terms of inbox notifications and overdue tasks. The list goes on. You can come into dashboards in ClickUp, start a dashboard. They'll even, give you templates as well. Like if I come into dashboards, you can see you can start with a dashboard template, or if you click new, it'll give you a couple options here as well that you can check out. Or you can just start from scratch and take a look at all the different cards that you have in here. So you can see if I add card, there's literally dozens and dozens of different things that you can add in terms of gaining that visibility inside your ClickUp account. And so obviously this is going to save you so much time and brain space because you're able to take a look at this. And either it's going to expedite your meetings because you can just pull up the dashboard and go through it in real time, or it can even eliminate them altogether. So many ways that you can save time. So if your business has been running on duct tape and digital chaos, this is your moment to clean it up and buy back your time. Every business goes through waves, right, of when you're more busy or less busy. And a lot of times the summer is more of a slow season for businesses because everyone's on vacation, kids are out of school. So take the time to set up the back end of your operations when you have a little bit of breather room. You're going to set yourself up and your team up for major success because this summer doesn't have to be more burnout and buried deadlines. With the right operational setup, you're going to be able to streamline your systems, reduce manual work, and free up space for deeper focus. And maybe that 3 p.m. walk that you've been constantly promising to yourself. So go ahead and continue watching this video for some next steps and see how we can support you if you want some help setting this all up. When you eliminate the wrong tasks, you make space for the right ones. Whether that's creative deep work, growth strategy, or just finishing on time for once. I hope this tutorial gave you a few light bulb moments and maybe the permission you needed to stop doing the stuff that doesn't actually move the needle. So if you're ready to streamline the chaos and build smarter systems for your team, book a call with us at the link in the description today so we can help you turn those light bulb moments into action. And if you found this video helpful, please do us a simple favor and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and hey, maybe go take that walk because your calendar just got lighter. I'll see you in the next one.